It's the 1980s in New York City. The streets aren't just filled with yellow cabs and Wall Street big shots. There's a war raging in the underworld. And at the center of it all, the Gambino crime family. Their boss, the ruthless and flashy John Gotti, is making headlines as one of the most infamous mobsters in history. But this story isn't just about Gotti Sr. This is the tale of his son, John Gotti Jr., a man who grew up in the mob, inherited his father's empire, and ultimately became the target of a massive FBI takedown. Junior Gotti's rise to power. John Gotti wasn't just a mob boss, he was a celebrity. The guy dressed like a movie star, dodged charges like a magician, and had the press eating out of his hand. His crew feared, his name legendary, but the feds were always watching, and in 1992, they got him. A life sentence put an end to his reign, and with Gotti Sr. behind bars, someone had to take over. Enter John Gotti Jr. Jr. was already deep in the game, leading his crew, made up of some steroid-fueled young mafiosi like Charles Carneglia, Joe Ochirico, and John Cavallo. With his father locked up, Jr. officially stepped up, inheriting one of the most powerful and feared crime families in New York. But while Jr. was busy running the family business, his childhood friend turned rival, John Elite, had moved to Florida. Elite was making serious cash under his captain, Ronnie Trucchio, while also running a valet company as a cover for his real work, organized crime. What Jr. and his crew didn't realize? The FBI had been watching them for years, collecting evidence, tapping phones, and building the case that would take them all down. The FBI moves in. By the late 1990s, the walls were closing in. The feds raided Jr.'s home, turning it upside down, and what they found was a goldmine of evidence: $350,000 in cash, 2 handguns, and a jewelry box stuffed with secret documents. Inside that box was something even more damning: a list of every made man in the Gambino family, carefully organized by name, rank, and date of initiation. It was a mobster's worst nightmare, and one of the dumbest mistakes in Mafia history. The list not only confirmed Jr.'s role as boss, but also gave prosecutors a roadmap to the entire organization. It wasn't long before the media had a field day, branding Jr. as the dumb fella, a stark contrast to his father's reputation as the Teflon Don. The RICO trial and the beginning of the end. In 1998, Jr. was indicted for racketeering, marking the beginning of a legal battle that would drag on for years. One of the key pieces of evidence? The Gambino's extortion of Scores, a high-end strip club that had been paying tens of thousands in kickbacks to the family to avoid problems. The club's owner, Michael Blutrich, was a disbarred lawyer who had once been a key player in one of the biggest financial scams in U.S. history, a scheme that used fake checks to buy an entire life insurance company. But when the FBI came knocking, Blutrich turned informant, wore a wire, and gave them everything they needed to take down the Gambinos. In one insane moment, Blutrich was wired up at Scores when Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, and David Blaine showed up for a night out. Not wanting to be caught wearing a wire near celebrities, he rushed to the FBI van outside to get it removed, just in time before running into Alphonse Persico, the acting boss of the Colombo crime family, Jr.'s last stand. By the early 2000s, the feds were dismantling the Mafia one by one. The Genovese underboss flipped, the Colombo boss was on trial, and John Gotti Jr. was running out of options. In 2005, the FBI arrested dozens of Gambino members, including Jr. himself, hitting him with racketeering, extortion, and conspiracy charges, all tied to his father's old empire. But unlike his dad, Jr. didn't go down swinging. The deal kept him out of life in prison, but it also marked the end of the Gotti dynasty. The legacy of the Gotti name. John Gotti Sr. was a legend in the Mafia world, but his son? not so much. While his father built a reputation as an untouchable crime boss, Jr. ended up as the guy who kept a paper trail of his own crimes. The Gambino family never fully recovered, and by the time Jr. was out of the picture, the FBI had crippled the entire organization. Jr. Gotti's rise and fall. By the late 90s, John Gotti Jr. had taken over his father's empire. But unlike the elder Gotti, who ran things with an iron fist, Jr. had a different approach. His father wanted power and control. Jr., money and status. And he made a huge mistake. He got sloppy. Between wiretaps, undercover agents, and street informants, the feds gathered enough dirt on Jr. to charge him with racketeering and extortion. Even his own father, from behind bars, warned him, "If you plead guilty, they'll just bring more cases against you." Jr. didn't listen. He pleaded guilty in 1999 and got 6.5 years behind bars. The FBI tightens its grip. While the New York mob was falling apart, trouble was also brewing in Florida. A Gambino associate named John Elite was running operations down south until the feds took down his entire crew for everything from drug trafficking to murder. Elite saw the writing on the wall and fled to Brazil in 2004, trying to disappear in Copacabana. But he didn't stay hidden for long. Within 10 months, Brazilian authorities caught wind of his presence and arrested him. Another domino down. The Curtis Sliwa incident. Sliwa, a vocal critic of the Gotti family, had been targeting them on his radio show for years. In 1992, he called John Gotti America's public enemy #1. 1 inch. Fast forward a few years, and Sliwa found himself in the back of a taxi from hell, one driven by a Gambino hitman. As soon as the car took off, a gunman hiding in the front seat unloaded bullets into Sliwa's body. Miraculously, he survived. The end of an era. By 2005, the Gambino family was in shambles. The new leadership council tried to steer the ship, but with so many key members either dead or locked up, the golden age of La Cosa Nostra was over. As for Jr. Gotti, he walked free in 2010 after 4 mistrials, never fully convicted. But he wasn't the same man. In 2013, he refused witness protection and instead disappeared into quiet life in New York, far from the Mafia spotlight. The FBI's final shot at Jr. Gotti. Despite all the confessions, the FBI still wanted Jr. Gotti, and in 2008, they finally had another shot at him. He was indicted for racketeering, drug trafficking, and his alleged involvement in 3 murders from the late 80s and early 90s. This time, their star witness was John Elite, a former Gambino enforcer who flipped and agreed to testify against Jr. Elite gave chilling details about multiple hits, including the 1991 murder of drug dealer Bruce Gotterup, who was allegedly taken out for robbing members of the Gambino family. The mob boss who walked away. In the end, the feds never got their big win against Jr. Gotti. He walked away from the Mafia life in 1998 and, to this day, maintains that he left it all behind. The FBI, however, doesn't forget. And if history has taught us anything, it's that even when you think you're out, the past has a way of catching up. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.